Hello, I'm Janice McLaughlin, a member of the Maryknoll Sisters of St. Dominic. I have been a Maryknoll sister for over 50 years. I joined in 1961, and I've been on the African continent for almost 50 years. I came first in 1969 to Kenya. I came to Zimbabwe in 1977. So this is my home. A missionary disciple is every Christian, everyone who has received the faith, who is a follower of Christ, wants to share that good news, wants to spread it to others. And we're all called to do that. Wherever we live, whatever our vocation is, parents share with their children, they share at their workplace, in their community. We each share that good news that we have within us. If you receive something good, you don't want to hold on to it and be selfish. You want to share it and spread it to others. So to me, that's what a missionary disciple is. And it's every Christian, every Catholic is called to that. I myself joined a missionary community, the Maryknoll Sisters of St. Dominic, and it was the first community of American religious women to be exclusively founded for mission. We were founded in 1912. Before that, the United States was a mission receiving country, but in 1908, the Vatican said that it was now a mature faith and we could be missionaries. So we were the first American missionary society. So we are all missionary disciples. We know when we join that we will be sent Asia, Africa, Latin America, wherever. And that's why we join. We want to spread the gospel across borders to the whole world. I was trained by Maryknoll as a journalist, and I worked in our communications department. So for me, my main way of preaching is through the written word. I have written books, I've written articles, I worked as the communications secretary for the Catholic Bishops' Conference in Kenya. I used to draft statements for the bishops, press releases. I've written books. So my form of preaching, my main form, is through writing, through the written word. I preach messages of hope, messages of justice, messages of peace, and I continue to do so. That's the wonderful thing about writing. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can still write. So I'm very happy that I learned that in my youth. Every day is a joy. You know, I love this. Pope Francis, again, he's my hero. The joy of the gospel. It is so full of wisdom. He said, Jesus wants us to touch human misery, to touch the suffering flesh of others. Whenever we do so, our lives become wonderfully complicated, and we experience intensely what it is to be a people, to be part of a people. And I think that's been my joy, you know, to be part of the people in Kenya, in Zimbabwe. Here in Zimbabwe, I lived in Tafara Township for 7 years. I loved it, to be part of that community, and they embraced myself and Sister Catherine. We lived in house 5039 in Tafara, across from Harutza Beer Hall. And we were part of the community. We did everything with the community. We cried with them when there was a death. We celebrated when there was a birth or a marriage. I lived in refugee camps with youth who had fled Zimbabwe during the war. I lived in prison for a short time, only 3 weeks, but it gave me a sense of how difficult other people have suffered. I think the hardships in life and sharing life with people are what give you joy. It's not looking for pleasure or being selfish and thinking of yourself, you know, and protecting yourself. Really, the Pope is correct. It's when you go out and touch the suffering of others that you, in fact, get joy. I am so happy that Pope Francis has reached out to the young people and that he's touched their hearts. That Synod on Youth was a wonderful opportunity to meet with youth, to hear their views. I think young people are hungry for the gospel. Maybe not formal religion. You know, the church itself has lost a lot of credibility through some of the sex abuse scandals and other things, that the church, the patriarchy, the way that women are not fully respected. So many people no longer go to church, but they have a real hunger for the gospel, a hunger to know Jesus. And I think we have to reach them in new ways. And the youth, I am so impressed by youth. When I see them out there marching for climate change, the youth care about the earth. They care about the future. And I think they are the hope of the future. And I really think the Pope is correct. We must focus on the youth. We have neglected them too long, and we've expected them to join a church which maybe is dying, and maybe a certain form of religious life, the kind that I entered, is dying. A new form is rising. My prayer, my hope, my dream for the young people of Zimbabwe is that they too will find a sense of hope, because right now it's difficult to see much hope in Zimbabwe. But through their faith, through their belief in Jesus, they will come to realize that there is always hope, and that we just have to keep taking one day at a time, one step at a time, to make life better. The gospel is about transformation. The gospel is about resurrection. New life comes after death. And so truly, the youth are the hope of the future, and they need to give all of us hope and to be hopeful.